and welcome to Rustic Fiber Academy's YouTube channel. I am Christy and I am the owner of Rustic Fiber Academy. I wanted to show you all today how to make a proportional armature or base for your animal. So what I have here is a printout of a pig. We're going to be making a pig at Rustic Fiber Academy, so if you want to learn how, the tutorial will be for sale in come January 2024. But it is also part of our subscription for our members, so it'll be available for all members for free. So to get this process started, though, on how you go about making any animal proportional, this is a really great technique to get started to create this. So if you get a printout of the animal you want to create, or you can use a book, I recommend you have a really nice profile picture, nothing with too many angles where the animal has its head turned or anything like that, because it gets a little bit more tricky to get the proportions right. If you do want your animal to have its head turned, you absolutely can. It's just start with something like this and make sure your wire goes into the part where the head is going to be, up to at least partway into the head, so that you can turn that animal's head. So how to get started is this is water-soluble paper. You might have seen my water-soluble tutorial on making feathers. I love using this paper for things, flat items mainly, but for this it also is really great. So you want to take it. It doesn't matter which side. And if you want to find this, I have the link below. So just head to that link and you can purchase some. And I'll tell you right now, not all water-soluble paper is the same, so it really depends. Like the one I have listed I know works. I've tried one other one and it didn't work, so just keep that in mind when you go to buy some. So I'm going to trace this. You can leave the legs off. I'm going to go slightly down one of the legs, and I'm not going to add in the udders. They'll come later. I'm going to come across this leg. I'm going to come down here. This doesn't have to be perfect. It just really gives us close to an idea of how this animal is going to be proportioned. I'm not adding the ears. So this is like really, really basic trace of the animal. Okay. Now we're going to just cut that out. I like to save all my scraps from the water-soluble paper, at least the big ones, because you only need to use a little bit when you're making feathers and stuff. Whatever wool you add, you can cut out off the excess water-soluble paper. So little scraps you can use for so many things. So we just cut this out, and then we're going to move over to our felting surface. I'm going to be using pink core wool for my pig, but of course you could use like white or something like that. To set it on my felting surface, I'm going to be using 18 gauge wire as my base wire for the armature. Now, if you've done tutorials with me, you know I really am all about basic armatures. I don't like working around the wire and dancing around it when I'm trying to add legs and that kind of thing. So I really go with super basic. So I'm just going to lay it across the body, and I don't want it to come all the way to one end or the other. I don't like a lot of wire in the head itself, because when you go to start poking around in there to add the details, it's really irritating when you keep poking at a wire and you're trying to like add an eye or an eyebrow. So I like to keep the wire away from the head, but a little bit into the neck. And then I don't want it to be too long that it's sticking out the butt of our pig. So I'm just going to cut it off right before it hits the end. Leave about 1/4 of an inch gap. Okay. So this doesn't look like it's going to be anything yet, right? Like you couldn't even tell that's a pig at the moment. But we'll get there. So we're going to take our glue stick. That's what I like to use to get my wool to adhere to my wire. Really easy, cost effective. just take some wool, wrap it. It doesn't have to be anything fancy because it's going to be hidden within our pig. A little more glue on that side. Okay. And then I'm going to just set it right in the middle there. Cap that. And now I'm going to start adding wool. And the wool is just going to cover all of that water-soluble paper. The head and snout, I don't need to add quite as much wool to. I don't want it to get super thick because, of course, lots of sculpting is going to happen in that head area. But in the rest of the body, we can start to fatten it up and just follow that water-soluble paper. And the thing with this is, like, I'm not even going to dip this in water and get rid of the paper. I'm going to leave it there. I'm just going to follow my outline for this pig. Go all the way around. And I'm going to build it up. Following the outline of the water-soluble paper. Do a little up here on the face. A little bit on the snout, but I'm not going to do like a whole ton because that snout, I really don't want to get that snout really big. And then once I have this, I'm just going to keep felting at it, but I am also going to take it off, flip it over, and address this side and do the same thing. And then you can just keep on adding wool and felting at it until you have a firm piece. And then if you do decide to get on and see the tutorial, I'll show the entire thing, but I will show up till how I do the legs and attaching those. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep adding wool to it and building it up a little, and then I'm going to show you how I add those legs. So give me just a few moments. I've been felting at this for about half an hour, and this is where I'm at. I know it's like I haven't made that much progress, but really this is pretty good. I've been using, I forgot the note, a 38 gauge needle. You could use a 36 for this too. It's kind of how it's lining up here. So it's looking pretty good. I'm going to keep building it up though on both sides. I'm not going to build up the face very much. So from about here on, I'm going to leave it as is because I don't want to get the face to get super thick. This isn't going to be a huge pig. He's pretty tiny. So now I'm just going to build up this all out, and he's going to get, I'm just going to say I'm going to do like an inch and a half thick for the whole body for this back part. And then once I get there, I'll show you the leg attachment so you kind of get an idea of how I do that. But also, to see the whole thing, head to the Academy, www.rusticfiberacademy. So here is the pig all fattened up. Now it's going to get even bigger around, but I wanted to show you how I attach legs because right now, I mean, you probably might be wondering how it happens. And I have a really simple process to do this. So I'm going to be using 18 gauge wire. This is wire that I just get at the hardware store. And you can use the template that you print out. And you can kind of go off of this for how long these feet have to be. Or not feet, legs. And then I bend the wire over the back part of the pig. So that's a little short. Make it a little longer. Like that. And then I'm going to trim it. Now I'm not bending hoofs or anything into this. So once I have one wire cut to the size length I want, I'm going to do it to a second wire. Now I'm not going to go into detail here on this video of how I make these legs and detail them, but if you want to learn how, head over to the Rustic Fiber Academy, where the tutorial will be made available to all members, or you can purchase it separately. The beauty about becoming a member of the Academy is that when you do, you get access to every single tutorial, and we have over 100 of them. So it's like, you know, you're paying $10 a month for all these tutorials, plus you have full access to me and all the other teachers. I'm not the only one teaching there, so you can ask them questions anytime, and you can also get involved in with all the other needle felters out there who are members as well. So now that I have the legs cut, what I usually end up doing is I actually wrap them before I attach them. But to attach them, I just line them up where they need to go, add a little bit of my glue stick to just about this little hump here, and then I add wool over the top. And then from there, I can start shaping my legs, my calves, all that, thighs, the shoulders. So that is how I utilize water-soluble paper to make really any animal in a 3D shape. I hope you enjoyed the video or learned something from it. Make sure to hit subscribe if you haven't yet. And thank you so much for following along.